Okay, I think it's live. All right. This is very exciting. I'm always a little nervous when these streams start. I'm like, I don't know. But I am so excited today. The big news dropped about Disney and Mulan. Everyone wanted to know my thoughts and everybody else's thoughts. And so I figured, why don't we come on and talk about it? And my friends just happen to be free. And so I have with me, I'm Rachel Wagner, and Kristen Maldonado is here.
Hello.
Yes, and Stanford Clark is here.
Hey.
And I can think of anybody else that I would rather talk about this with on lots of levels. First of all, you are experts, I would say, in the world of Disney and animation and all that fun stuff. But also because we have been so tied to this whole Mulan situation. Because if you all don't know, Kristen, I'd contacted her in February and asked her if she wanted to come on and do the Mulan episode of Talking Disney, and she was really excited about it. And then we just had one delay after delay, and it's such kismet because we just recorded our Tangled episode because we were tired of waiting. And then we get this new, literally, we had just done it last week.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Crazy timing.
Yes. So how are y'all doing?
Good. Excited to talk about this wild news.
I know.
Same here.
Yeah, but before we do, we have to talk about the exciting news of the day for Kristen. So you got the news that you have been certified as a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
Yes, congratulations.
I know,
like
congratulations.
What we all look for. I've been waiting, so it's so exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So did you just find out? You got an email or?
Yeah, I got an email today that was like, "Congrats, welcome to the fam, you're approved." And I was like, "Wow!" I was running around my house all frantic, so excited, and calling my family and my boyfriend. He's at work. I'm like, guess what? I have exciting news. I'm officially a critic.
That's exciting news. You should be calling everybody. That's so great.
I feel like every time one of my friends is added, I feel like it's a new warrior being added to the battlefront. I really do. It's okay, because it adds another level of scrutiny to your reviews that can be challenging. I'll just say that.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I gotta talk to you about your tips and tricks.
Yeah, I can definitely. I'm here for you. It can be challenging. I would say it's the club that everyone wants to be in that everybody hates. But the more of us that are here and kind of understand it and contributing, I think the better. I think it's going to be great, especially female voices. Yes. We need more of those, I think, out. That's why I've been trying to do the female film critic panels the last couple of months, and we have a really fun one coming up this month. I'm so excited about. But yeah, trying to. I think it's really important that we have those voices in the film critic community.
I agree. Yeah. Especially as a Latina, I feel like, the more representation behind the scenes, on camera, in the critic space, just in general, getting more voices out there is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's great. I can't wait for you to. Okay. When do you think you're going to post your first review up there?
I don't know. They said that they can populate it. So I was kind of go ahead then. I don't know what to do. So
that's what I did too.
I'm going with them. So I'm excited to see when things start to show up. But
yeah. Well, that will be exciting. So all right. Let's talk about the big news. And we have the chat room open. There's a few people in there. If you have thoughts, please share with us what you think about the different things we're going to talk about. And bear with us, this was thrown together fairly quickly. So
we were like an hour ago. Should we do this?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let's do it. What else is there to do on a Tuesday in the middle of a pandemic?
Absolutely.
We're doing the best we can, people. But there's a lot of congrats in the chat room for you, Kristen.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's so exciting. I remember when because I hadn't even applied. They just found me.
That's how it was. So I was very confused because I was going to apply.
Oh, they did for you too?
Yeah. So I was like, wow, awesome. I've applied in the past. I just, never heard back.
I thought it was a goof. I thought it was a joke. Somebody was tricking me.
I
was playing.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my social security. What's going on?
Right.
They were like, "Did you get our email?" And I was like, "Oh, this is just somebody being mean or whatever," and a joke. And then I looked into it. And I'm like, "No, this is like a real person who works for Rotten Tomatoes." I'm like, oh, okay, whoa, no way.
It feels cool because it's like, wow, they like saw your work, it's like I'm thinking like nobody sees what I do. Nobody's watching my reviews, but I guess they do.
Yeah, I guess I found out later that it was my writing for rotoscopers that they had found that I had done, which I was really proud of. Some of the stuff right around that time I had posted a review of Black Panther for a series they did on Marvel, which I thought I was really proud of. I thought I had done a really good job on. And so, who knows what
obviously
they saw.
You did. Yeah. That's awesome.
So anyway, that's really cool. There's somebody else that had that experience and then not just me. But anyway, so today I'm doing an interview with author Debbie Maycomber, who is a big name in the world of Hallmark. She's had like over 200 novels and a bunch multi-best-selling. So it was a pretty big get for us, and I was very excited. She was super cool, and people are going to be really inspired, I think, by her story. But I'm doing the interview, and my phone is just going nuts next to me, like lights, notifications, and I'm like trying to ignore it. And so I finish, and big news out of Disney today. They had their shareholder meeting, and they announced that they are going to be releasing Mulan on Disney Plus, but it's going to be an additional price for basically $30. And so there's lots of different ways of looking at this, I feel like. But Kristen, what was your first reaction to this news?
My first reaction was kind of like, I'm glad it's going on Disney Plus because I was kind of hoping it would at some point. I didn't know if like they would maybe do it on VOD and some in theaters and also maybe just put it on Disney Plus. But I was kind of like glad because I have that. So I'm like, yes, now I can watch it. Although I'm not sure how I feel about the $30. I think it makes sense because it's like, if you and another person watch it, that's like the price of like a movie ticket. But also I feel like if you have Disney Plus, I'm kind of like, do I want to pay $30?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do want to support it. Although I will admit, I'm not sure if this is like, I don't know what it's going to be like, like, is this one where I'm like, I wish that they put it in theaters, or will I be happy it's on streaming?
How do you feel about the live action remakes in general?
I've been hit or miss about them. There's certain things that I really enjoy, like in Aladdin, I loved the new song that Jasmine sang. But also I felt like some of the story was a little bit different. And I don't know if maybe Aladdin, I have high expectations because it's one of my favorites, that I'm like, it didn't quite hit it for me. I mean, I thought Will Smith did a great job, actually. I think the genie is a role that people are like, it's like, oh, that's Robin Williams. But I think that's actually the one role that if you have someone in there that brings something really unique, anybody could play the genie. I saw it on Broadway and I didn't love that, but I love the genie. I feel like that's the one role that like you can really, if you get someone really exciting, they could do something really cool with it. Lion King, that was one that I think wasn't as emotional as the animated film. And Beauty and the Beast, I actually really enjoyed that one. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that one. So yeah. What about you guys?
And yeah, Stanford. So, what was your thought about the Mulan and sort of your thoughts on the live action remakes?
Well, so I guess I'll just address the live action remakes first because I think we all know that I hate them. However, Disney spends a lot of money on them, and they are typically high quality. Whether I like them or not. I think ultimately, I just feel sad that I feel like they diminish the animated classics by creating it. I'd rather just watch the animated classic than watch this remake. But I'm not the one making the calls. And then also they print money. These make so much money. So about Mulan, frankly, I was quite happy that they finally made an announcement about it because. I mean, how many times have they moved the release date from the original March date? Like 4 times, 3 or 4 times.
After a while, you start to lose your excitement.
And it's a moving target, and nobody knows what's really ultimately going to happen. And Tenet, moved, and so I'm sorry that we're not going to get to see it in the theater, like I think I'd hope, because it looked like actually it was going to be a pretty cool big screen type of film. It looks like it was going to be pretty epic, but I feel like I'm glad that they set the date. $30 is steep, but I think they're following just what other people have been doing for this premium video on demand thing. The other thing that I had hoped from based on that earnings call today that where the announcement was made was that they're saying that this is really just a pandemic anomaly rather than like a new thing that they're going to be doing, is putting a lot of stuff.
But if this thing
we'll see
if it does well, if it's gangbusters, which I don't think it will, but if it did,
then of course, because nobody knows how to make money better than the Walt Disney Company, and so but I guess I just feel like I'm glad they're going to release it. I just almost feel like let's release it and then let's move on,
Because people forget that not only do they have all of the cost of the movie themselves, because this was a very expensive film, and the marketing associated with starting it up again and again, but they also have heavy debt that they go into in any film. Whenever you make a film, you get financiers who invest in the film, and the longer that you have to wait to release the film, the more interest and other things that you end up paying for the film. And so there's lots of expenses that people don't even think about aside from just the actual cost of the film.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so they really need to get it out there. But yeah, I mean, then the argument used here is that, well, family of 4, they're going to be $12 a ticket these days. At the so you actually end up saving money that you would have spent where you would have spent over $30, and then you don't have to spend on expensive concessions and other things like that. So the argument is that you would end up saving money, but the problem with that argument, I think, is that this is a PG-13 movie. So you're not going to take unless you have a family of teenagers, you're not going to take a family of 4 to see the movie. And so it's maybe not, I don't know.
That is a good point.
It's a steep price.
The other thing to think about is like, okay, so they're going to do the $30 on Disney Plus, but this is a movie that probably after it was in theaters would just go to Disney Plus for free. So then how does that happen? Is it that now like I spend the $30 and then in like 4 months I can watch it for free if I have Disney Plus? Because then that's kind of a little bit of I don't know, it feels like a waste unless I really, really wanted to watch it. And I don't know if this is a film that like, I don't know, maybe this would have been something to try with like Black Widow, where like a lot of people are going to want to pay to see that. Whereas like, will a lot of people want to pay to see Mulan?
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a big Disney fan, but outside of that, I'm not sure.
Frankly, I mean, I would pay just because I don't want Black Widow to get spoiled for me. I mean, how can you spoil a prequel? So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be that spoiler, but like, as opposed to a remake, which I already know everything that's happening in the movie for the most part. Like it's a remake. I can just watch the original, and like with I'm trying to think. I mean, Pete's Dragon is really the only one, in my opinion, that surpasses the original. Like, there's been some that have been good that I've enjoyed, but for the most part, I haven't enjoyed them. I don't like them. I don't mind if other people like them, just not my favorite. But there have been a few that I've liked. But I think that Pete's Dragon was the only one that I would say is better than the original film. And as far as these live action remakes, so like I would pay the $30 just because I don't if I want to know and have that. And even though I'm not like a huge spoiler person, like I want to know what's going to happen. As opposed to a remake where I already know what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And mostly I just kind of feel sorry for this movie because I mean, and for the three of us here because we've been wanting to review it,
Yeah.
I mean,
and also talk about the original.
Even before all this nonsense, even before that, there was controversy around this movie. Like really can't get a break. I mean, they tried to get an all Chinese cast, and I do appreciate that. And they they end up with these scandals with the lead actress that just supporting the police against the protesters in Hong Kong, and some of the other stuff that was already happening. And
I think even just the fact that this is going to be a different Mulan, sort of where it's not exactly like this is going to be the first time where it's not really taking the animated film and just remaking it. They're going to there's no music in this. There's different characters or certain characters not in it. So what is that already? I think that already had some people oh, what does that mean? And it might be interesting to some people because they want a more authentic story, and for some people it might draw them away because they're well, I want to see that good music and stuff that we love from the original.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And those characters.
Yeah, I mean, because there are some cringy parts of that original. We'll talk about it when we I love it, but the ancestors are not the best.
Yeah, I need to rewatch. I haven't seen it in so long, but I'm pretty sure Mulan might have been definitely at least one of the first movies that I saw in theaters, because it's definitely one that I remember. One of the first I remember seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I recently rewatched it on Disney Plus, and I think it's terrific, but yeah, there's some parts that with the ancestors and things. I'll be excited for our future discussion about it. The one thing too that really makes me, I guess, just kind of feel good about this is that, I don't think they're going to recoup their investment, but again, I'm glad that they're going to try it and just and get it out there, because I think if they had waited, for us Disney fans, we probably would still follow it and support it into next year. But I just wonder, too, their marketing, they just kind of had to stop. And, again, no one's going to theaters anyway, and because they're closed. And
people that are not like us, that are not what's the next new movie? Are going to be
those who really aren't stay informed, and stay close to it. So anyway, I'm hoping for the best, and I'm probably going to fork out the money just because, again, I just feel like, and I'll probably, invite some family over or something. We'll socially distance and watch Mulan.
It was a little confusing though. Bob Chapek, he says Mulan will be released simultaneously in theaters in markets where Disney Plus is not available, and of course where theaters are open. So that's a little confusing to me.
Yeah. So I just wonder if it's just we'll see what happens. Clearly, international markets. And I would think, and
but it makes me wonder if, here,
maybe
Utah,
some places in the U.S., I might get it.
Supposedly Cinemark, and already one of the Cinemarks here in Utah is open.
Yeah,
Cinemark Jordan Landing,
and then our local theater chain Megaplex has been open
since June.
Since June.
So it makes me wonder if those theaters, because he says, and of course, where theaters are open.
Yeah.
So that's confusing.
We still could get it.
we could still get it. And and then what will the NATO, what will they think about this? The National Organization of Theater Owners, who have been, because they might, somebody like the Megaplex might not be allowed to play it because here's a movie that's breaking the theatrical window, which kind of goes along to what the big news of last week was, this deal between AMC Theaters and Universal. And so now here's Disney I kind of wondered if maybe this is a little bit influenced by that. And here's Disney kind of dipping their toe and breaking the theatrical window, which was always this revered thing that couldn't be tested.
No, you bring up a good point, Rach. I'm still going with and we'll see. Again, I don't want to be too trusting, if it's not merited, but for them to say it's a pandemic anomaly, I'm gonna go with that until they prove me otherwise.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she did also say it was an experiment, though, which is interesting.
Yeah, so that could mean if it does well,
right?
Maybe this could be something that they figure out a deal
similar to what the Universal did. Because now they have to kind of deal with that, and they have the competitors who, assuming it ends up all kind of happening, that and it doesn't get sort of stopped for some reason, now they have to deal with that, and what's, I don't know, the whole thing is kind of crazy. What did you think about that whole AMC Universal thing? What did you think, Stanford?
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I'm glad that they kissed and made up, because I was thinking, holy cow, I mean, for AMC just to say, no, we're not playing any Universal movies ever again, I think, well, that's a big ask. I mean, that's a lot of money to lose, and for everybody. So I'm glad they did it. I think it's quite aggressive, I mean, 17-day window now between when it screens and when they can put it on that premium video on demand thing. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how it pans out. So I think mostly I just kind of feel like I've got to wait and see stance on it just to see how it goes.
It's an interesting thing because the huge majority of most profits from movies are made before the end of 17 days.
Right.
But that's in a pre-deal world where people didn't know that they could then see it in 17 days.
Right.
Like if then maybe, you have a few movies like Good Greatest Showman, which which made the bulk of its profits after the 17-day window.
Right. It just had legs. It just kept going and going. Yeah.
And it grew. But I don't know. It's I don't know. I feel like it's still high enough, the cost for the VOD, that people will still go for, you can get what, a $6 Tuesdays, deal or whatever, then you'd still be motivated to go to the movie theater and see it. But I don't know. What did you think about all of that, Kristen?
I mean, I am someone who, I do love going to the movie theater, but also sometimes I'm a little bit lazy. And if I can watch a movie in my home, I would do that. And so actually, I feel like the fact that, everything that's going on now, the fact that it's a little bit, that it's easier to watch things at home, it has made me watch more movies that maybe I would have skipped.
Yeah.
But, I think it's definitely like a difficult situation because, like you said, like a lot of people make money through the theaters, and I'm sure there's going to be new people making money through VOD. Mm-hmm. So I guess for me, sometimes I'm lazy, so I'm happy to watch a movie on my couch. But there is something to the theater experience. So I don't know if that'll ever really fully go away, because it's like a treat. It's like an entertainment treat. Mm-hmm. Not something that we can necessarily all do right now, but at least there's other ways that we can enjoy that and have that escapism, even if we can't go to a theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've got lots of great comments in the chat room. We have Sean Studio. He says that he's in the UK, and that he says if you can get the DVD Blu-ray for $30, then $30 to rent it is a lot. And that's a really good point. I mean, you can get 4K DVD, Blu-ray with digital, and not to mention having it on Disney Plus within a year or whatever. I guess it depends on how anxious you are to really see the remake of Mulan. And I mean, and because you're already paying the $7 a month. Ryan O'Toole says $30 on top of a $6.99 subscription. Craziness. At least make it $14.99 for Disney Plus subscribers, which is an interesting idea. That. Yeah.
Because it is like, why do you have the subscription then? Why are we paying? And like, are you paying to like rent it, or are you buying the movie for the $30? Because if I'm just renting it,
I think it's just renting.
I think it's renting.
That's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the window is, if it's 24 hours or 48 hours, once you make the buy, or once you press play.
I feel like the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, I don't know if I want to rent it. $30. Yeah.
Well, and of course, you have the piracy problems as well. That's going to be huge, especially at $30. This thing is going to be everywhere instantly. There's no way. And I mean, I paid even less because I got Disney Plus at D23. So I paid I paid $140 for 3 years of Disney Plus. So I
did the same.
Yeah. So this is 4 months of Disney Plus, and in order to get one night of watching this movie. It's tough.
It's tough deal. And the only thing I guess personally I feel like I have to compare it to is that Trolls World Tour release, which of course caused the big spat between AMC and Universal, right? But that I think was $20.
$20. Yeah.
I didn't rent
and
it.
They touted that it had done really, really well, but when you actually put pen to paper and you did the math, I think it was some spin there going on.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I do.
And I noticed too. So at the Megaplex theaters, which are that chain that's open up here in Utah, Trolls World Tour is one of the offerings.
Yeah,
they had put that in theaters. And of course, I still didn't see it, but I thought that was interesting.
I feel like this whole thing is a giant scheme to see how long Knives Out can stay in theaters. It's like never gonna leave.
Is it still
the theaters that are open and drive-ins? Like I don't know. It just seems like Knives Out has been there forever.
Yeah, it's been back, at least in the Megaplex theaters, hasn't it, Rach?
Yeah. We actually have a number. We have smaller. There's a couple smaller theaters, independent theaters.
Some independent theaters.
Then Megaplex plus Fat Cats in Saratoga Springs. They've been open for a while. The Sierra Shell.
Was Knives Out playing at the Sarah?
Was
Knives Out playing at the Sarah?
Not Knives. They've been doing all classics, library films. That's what people like to call them. But I don't know. It kind of makes me laugh. I swear. And then we've had 2 drive-ins here. Have they had any drive-ins by you?
Yeah. Have you got any access to drive-ins, Kristen, in your neck of the woods?
They're relatively far.
Yeah.
I think like there might be like a beach area doing like every one day a week, like older movies, like, maybe from the 90s or early 2000s. But I know there are some upstate movie theaters that they have like drive-ins and stuff, but we don't really have a lot of that out here. I guess because maybe upstate New York is more like rural. I feel like there's more like land to do stuff like that.
And exactly.
Yeah, and I'm like in the suburbs, but still like
still in the city.
Close to the city.
Yeah,
like an hour, 45 minutes from the city. So
yeah.
The other thing that I find confusing about this whole thing about Mulan is that they have a new movie coming out on Disney Plus in August that it's not like with the one and only Ivan, which I think looks really charming. It's not like they're in an Artemis Fowl situation where they've had this huge stinker. And I mean, unless this does prove to be a huge stinker, but where they kind of need to sort of satisfy their 60, because they have 60 million subscribers to Disney Plus. And I'm so confused by the way Disney treats properties that they have, because I just feel like, why not get as much out of it as you possibly can? And yet they have so many like mid-level films that they just are like, we're We don't really care about this movie. Like, have you heard? Most people haven't even heard of this. It has had so little marketing, even viral marketing. They've had hardly anything about it. And from what I've heard from my friends who've seen it and gotten early screeners, it's really fun and they've really enjoyed it. And so I don't know. I just figure, why not promote that now and then wait and release Mulan in December? That's the thing that makes the most sense to me. But I mean, I'm just a girl who works in social media marketing and things. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why? I just feel like Disney has this repeat pattern of like these movies that they just kind of like, we're not going to, like, why not get as much out of your product as you possibly can?
Maybe they still haven't figured out their like streaming plan.
Especially,
like their social plan for
especially
streaming.
with marketing that's essentially free. You have social media, like you could be blasting the one and only Ivan over everywhere, but it's, I mean, are you excited for it?
I don't really know too much about it.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
But look at films like Palm Springs that like, premiered on Hulu and everybody was talking about it the week that it came out, and everyone's saying it's one of the best, like I think that there's something to say for, using social media as your tool to market and to get the film out there, even if it's not going to theaters. Like, I think that there's been a lot of films already this year that have gotten a lot of buzz just from premiering on a streaming platform that people have talked about. And that they can take advantage of that. There's like whole teams dedicated to that. Maybe they need to up their.
I mean, technically the Hulu team is Disney. The people who did Palm Springs just have them do it. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's weird, Stanford?
I am puzzled about how they market movies on Disney Plus. And I know I've seen some stuff on social media about the one and only Ivan, and again, just because I pay attention, to it. But they have not done anything splashy. So and then Mulan comes out 3 weeks later, right? So or 2 weeks, whatever.
I mean, this movie has Bryan Cranston in it, like.
Well, Angelina Jolie, hello.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I just feel like even before Disney Plus, I just feel like these sort of mid-level movies, they don't care about, and they don't spend there weren't that many to begin with, but still, like your Queen of Cotways or your, like movies like that are sort of smaller, Pete's Dragon even, they just kind of, it's like, why don't you, I mean, to me, what do I know? They're Disney, I'm me. But if I was Disney, I would look at the Blumhouse model. And I would say, like, the way they take these movies that are made for like $3 million, $5 million, and they make huge money off of them.
Bank.
Huge. And like, I can't understand why they don't try to do that. I mean, and it's like, if you're going to go all the trouble to make something, why not promote it effectively?
Yeah. And honestly, it's
weird.
Social media is like the base level, like easiest marketing that you could do over like, spending millions on billboards and, all this stuff. Like that's where, everyone's on social media. Like you could just, tweet about it, Facebook about it, post some clips, and like, that's already like the base, like minimum.
Yeah. You can use your talent that's in the movie to like create hype, and
it'll be interesting to see now that they've announced this with Mulan, what their marketing is like. If they're just gonna kind of just let it be, or if it's just gonna be in our face all the time. I'm assuming it's gonna be more the latter, but but we'll see.
I mean, it's just like, if it were me, I would use the one and only Ivan to sort of tie people over, a new release, basically, and then you've got Soul coming up, you've got Black Widow, you have. So I was just kind of thinking, do we really need this? But like we said earlier, there's the debt, there's the other things, there's other factors coming into play.
And I think this can test what to do with those other movies. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is the right tester, but they could decide what they want to do with other movies and how they want to release them based off of this.
Yeah. Because, I mean, really, I mean, of course, I'm ever hopeful, and then we see what is happening in other countries, but we don't know what's going to happen with COVID-19. You know, I mean, maybe it's going to spike again, and we're not going to be going to movie theaters until well into 2021. I mean, heaven forbid, but who knows?
I know.
Who knows? So, yeah, you bring up really good points.
Do you guys think that the Tenet is gonna come out at Labor Day?
I mean,
I hope it will.
I feel like
I wonder if it's the same thing. It's just like, let's do this, you know.
That'll be another one though, where there's gonna be all the like piracy and stuff going on. Yeah. Definitely, it's because they were gonna release it internationally first, and then kind of see
internationally,
in select markets in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right, and whatever.
Yeah, if I were everybody, if it does happen, and they release it international, and then on Labor Day in select cities, that's what my hope is. I'm like, can Salt Lake be a select city, please? But if that happens, I would recommend to every person that cares about spoilers to mute Tenet in your social media, because they're going to be, I think it's a highly spoilerific movie from what I've gathered. And so I would really recommend to people who care about that, I would really recommend to mute the word.
I hope it's a phenomenal movie, because everyone's going to be so mad.
I know, right, Kristen? It's true. It's like everyone's going to be so ticked. Like, we've been waiting for this for months, and now this has been like the movie that's supposed to save, our country's theaters. And,
I mean, I
hope.
I did recently go to the movie theaters here and see the rental. And I have my review on Backseat Directors, and it was disappointing, but it was an interesting experience. And I had to, so I have my mask on, and I felt comfortable, but then people ended up sitting right in front of me, which I think they must have been, I can't imagine that the theater was allowing that. You think it would at least be staggered over or whatever.
Or something, yeah.
And so I ended up moving all the way to the other end. So I had my good 6 feet. I was fine. I had my mask on, and it was a good experience as far as that goes. But I think we'll all have to be kind of the advocators for our own health. If we decide to take a risk, we can take a risk wisely, and make sure we have the distance that we need, and all of that kind of a thing. But anyway, so we've had a lot of really good conversation going on in the chat room. A lot of people talking about Wonder Woman, about Snyder Cut, lots of stuff going on there. So yeah, it's a whole new world in streaming that we've entered into.
It is.
Baptism by fire in 2020.
Something, yeah.
Yes. And let's see what's the next thing I want to talk about. Then one little news that I thought was interesting, I was curious for your opinion about. We have the new feature on Netflix is going to allow you to speed up or slow down your movies. Now, I kind of feel like this is not that big of a deal, because this is like a super easy hack to do. If anybody actually wants to do it, it's super easy. You just download a widget onto your whatever, browser that you have, and you can do this very easily. So the fact that it's now an official part of Netflix, but I don't know. How do you feel about this? Do you think that this is an outrage, Kristen, or no big deal?
I think it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I have thought, I wish I could speed this movie up a little bit, because it is a little long. And I think, so I do that sometimes on YouTube. Like, I'll speed up something, or I'll slow it down if I feel like someone's talking really fast, like me, and I can't understand them. Or I'll do that on like podcasts. I might speed it up just so I could get through it a little bit faster while I'm doing something else. So I feel like, if a movie was like 3 hours long, I would think about maybe, putting it up a tiny, tiny bit.
The Irishman, I would have been very tempted.
Right? Exactly. So, I think that there are other reasons why people might need that, if you're, to just make things more accessible for people. Some people need to, slow down the, videos of things because it's easier for them to like read captions and stuff. And, I'm someone that puts captions up for everything because I just feel like I could focus better. So maybe that's something I would end up doing, maybe slowing something down as well. So, or even see like little moments.
What do you think, Stanford?
Not an issue. I mean, honestly, I have no qualms fast forwarding through a movie or even going ahead 10 minutes or something, And so, I mean, I think it's about time, but still, I can take matters into my own hands and be fine with that too.
Well, for me, I watch Hallmark movies for a living, so y'all can bet that I have used this feature before. I try not to do it very often, but there's some that are that could use a little bit of pacing. I mean, I have to say, I actually use the 2x feature on YouTube all the time because I because I use it on my Audible, and so it's just kind of your brain gets used to it very quickly, and I can get through, especially if it's something like news or something. I just want to hear it, and I want to get. And I will be watching something, and my mom will overhear. She's like, "How can you even understand that?" And to me, it's perfectly clear because I'm so used to it. And when you're looking at viewing art, it's kind of another feature because the editing and the other work that goes into that pacing, and that's all part of the film. And so as a critic, I would never do it to something that I was reviewing because that's all part of the film.
Right.
But the it's just if it's just something I'm watching just for fun, then I can see the appeal. I have seen the appeal. See, Music says, I'm against the Netflix speed up feature. You will mess up the timing and comedy and the effectiveness of drama. Filmmaker and artists will hate this. Yeah, there's no doubt that it's not going to be a big fan of creators, and I can see why.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely. I mean,
I can see why.
Mess up their work, but sometimes you gotta fast forward.
I guess for me, I just feel like it's already out there. It's so easy to do. Like, it's just a download on your browser. So the fact that Netflix is adding it is just kind of it's just a non-factor to me because it's very, 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 very easy to do. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. So the next, I did ask on Twitter what people, on Facebook, my Facebook, what people thought. I just said, just yes or no. You don't have to get into your financials. And almost everybody is a no. This is just my personal friends. No, ridiculous prices. I have a few people who work in the industry who say for my channel or for work expense. One, Ben Daniels says, I'm not paying $30 to see a movie I didn't care about to see in the first place. Sam Cooley, my friend, he says, Disney has always had a hard time making money. I get it.
Yeah.
And then my friend Brianne Schaefer, she says $20 yes, $30 no way. So that's kind of interesting, I feel. But I have some friends, my friend Katie Donegan, she says, my girls love the animated version, even at ages 19, 18, 15, and 12. If they all wanted to see it, I'd pay. It would cost a lot more than $30 to take us all to the theater. So anyways, some different responses on Facebook to that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about just briefly was we got an announcement. This kind of impacted my neck of the woods more than the two viewers, but I still thought it'd be interesting to talk about. So we've had the announcement that Hallmark is going to be releasing 40 Christmas movies again this year. They had 39 last year, and I don't know how they're going to do it. I am a Scrooge. I am a doubter. I don't know how, with quarantine and with everything else happening, how you make 40
just with the
movies.
production shutdown, right? I mean, just
yeah. And they weren't, because normally June's a big month for them. They weren't making any Christmas movies in June. I don't understand how they're going to make 40 movies. But nevertheless, that's what they say. And they're really working hard to add more diversity to the lineup this year, which is very exciting at Hallmark. And they actually have this month, they're having their first gay wedding in a Hallmark movie, which is kind of, it's a big deal for this, especially for this particular audience that is very traditionally Christian, very conservative, this audience. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes with the ratings and everything. And anyway, so Lifetime, which has been a little bit more proactive, they made their announcement. They're going to have 30 Christmas movies like they did last year. So I'm just thinking Christmas movies are basically going to save movies 2020. Right? We all agree.
Yeah. This is what we'll all be watching.
This is a giant scheme to get everybody. They'll have nothing else to review. So they'll just be forced to just review Christmas movies.
I'll be watching Turner Classic Movies. You're just gonna have to let me know how it goes.
But anyway, so they also announced that in the 30 new Christmas movies, there's going to be their first ever LGBTQ story lead for Lifetime for Christmas, and they are going to. They are going to also make a Chinese American centered film. This director Jennifer Liao and written by Irene Donahue. A Sugar and Spice Holiday follows a young architect who returns home to Maine for Christmas in the wake of her grandmother's death and winds up entering a gingerbread house competition. And I guess they're just casting both films. And so, yeah, I mean, the thing I have to say about this is that there's going to be 70 new Christmas movies. So if you don't want to watch one of these movies, there's literally going to be 70 that you can pick from. So why not make one for everyone? Why not include every group?
Include everybody. Mm-hmm.
And everybody can watch whichever ones that they want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if I'm surprised, but I think that's awesome that this is the first Chinese American movie that they're making. It's like I wish that it was more.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that they're doing, an LGBTQ story. I think that's awesome. I think they're also casting they're doing a film around Ali Stroker, right? So I just think that that's really cool that they're even going to be doing films around, just like people with differently abled people, this seems like a very, very inclusive Christmas, which I think is awesome.
It's
that's
Christmas.
Yeah. Like Christmas is for everyone. Christmas, get this Christmas spirit in all of us. You know? So I think that's awesome. This makes me want to watch the movies more, actually.
Right? So and that's the thing is that you are expanding your audience by including more people. And like I said, there's plenty of others, if people want the more traditional, there's plenty of those too. So we're all good.
Something for everyone.
Do you agree, Stanford, that you can just watch whichever ones you want to watch?
I mean, I want everybody to, feel loved and appreciated, and we're all God's children,
right?
I just, clearly it's an important thing for everybody to be aware of. I feel I mean, conceptually, I think I can speak to it, but as we were just talking about, I never watch those channels, and not because I'm opposed. I'm just watching other things,
Yeah.
Anyway, I wish everybody happy.
That's right. It's Christmas. Everybody should be cheerful and having Christmas movies, and you just watch whichever ones you want to watch. That's what I have to say. I'm the only one that has to watch all of them. That's my job.
That's Rachel's job. I don't know how you do it, Rach. You're gonna need like the 4 times speed, instead of
yeah. Last year I watched 115 Christmas movies.
Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's amazing.
And
that's probably more movies than I've watched in a year.
Seriously, Kristen, right?
Yeah, there were days when I would watch 6 or 7, just boom, boom, boom. I mean, granted, most of these you can do other stuff when you watch. They're not like high brain movies. Still
a lot. I feel like my brain would be broken after like the first 17 movies. No, probably the first like 5 movies.
Well, and it was so cute. The director of the Chinese film, Jennifer Liatu, I think is her name. I said on Twitter, I said, "Welcome to the Christmas movie family, Liao. Welcome to the Christmas movie making family." And she was like, "Thank you so much. I'm so excited." So it's great.
That's awesome.
I'm excited.
Is she also the first Asian American director for?
I don't know that as a fact, but there certainly haven't been lots. If there were, so
That's awesome. That's very exciting.
It's really fun,
now,
and
Rachel, please. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and it's not just Hallmark and Lifetime. There's Netflix that has been making they've had a bunch of diversity in their Christmas movies and have had some really fun ones like the Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. I think you might like that one, Stanford. It's pretty cute. I like
that Switch one that they have.
What's that?
I like the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
What is that one called?
The Princess Switch, I think is what it's called.
Was that on Netflix too, or was that on?
That was on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a ton of Christmas princess movies on Hallmark, but the Switch one was on Netflix. Yeah. Yeah.
And the night one before Christmas.
Yeah, that one was kind of disappointing. I thought
it was cute, but
I just wanted it to be funnier than it was. But I mean, it was fine. But I wanted it to be. I thought it had so much potential to be hilarious. But anyway, yeah, the Christmas Chronicles was pretty fun, and so yeah, it's this whole enterprise of Christmas movies is just this thing. It's pretty amazing. And
it is. I feel like there's no other like time of the year when like people make like a certain type of movie like that, right? Like it's just Christmas, right? I mean, people don't do like Easter movies or things like that.
You have like occasionally you'll have Halloween scary a little bit on there, but I think that's really the only other time that, I mean, Hallmark makes movies year round, but nothing like they do at Christmas. And Christmas, it's in a whole nother level.
From a practical level, Rachel, how do you think they're going to get it done? I mean, how do you think they're going to get? I mean, is everybody just going to be working, 24/7 and just? I
mean, I think part of it. This is why it's going to be a big struggle for the podcast because usually, I mean, supposedly they're also starting in October, and we usually do our previous shows in October, and we usually do 4 previous shows, 2 for Hallmark, 1 for Lifetime, 1 for all the other stuff. And those usually do very well for us. People love the previous shows, but like, I think it's going to be very difficult to do the previous shows this time because I think there's going to be a ton that are going to be filming into October and November, which isn't unheard of. Usually there's like 1 or 2 stragglers a few stragglers. But for the most part, like by October, most of the movies were made or, were like firm. And so I think it's going to be a lot more in the fall than they typically have ever made before. And so, yeah, and I think they're going to be using every studio that they have, because they made a lot of movies with Mar Vista, they have all these different production partners. And I'm very, like I said, I'm skeptical. I don't think they're going to be able to pull off 40. And this would not be unheard of for Hallmark to announce and then not deliver on their announcements. They are the queens of overpromising and under delivering. So
Do you think that they'll do just like smaller casts maybe, or even just, do you think they'll do like a Corona Christmas and like have people on like Zoom or something?
I was worried that same thing, Chris. I think I had asked Rachel. I'm just picturing a Zoom call,
All bets are off. There's actually a movie coming, or a series coming on Freeform.
Yes.
Love in the Time of Corona. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, with Leslie Odom Jr. Is in it. Yeah, and some other people I don't remember. I just was like, oh my God, Hamilton. So
that's gonna be interesting. I mean, they nailed the name there. And but yeah, I don't know. I'm very skeptical, but I think what we're probably gonna have to do for the preview shows is just do like a highlight, not worry about previewing every single movie, because I think we'll just not know what's going on. But who knows? I mean, we've got magic, we've got Santa Claus involved. I mean, anything's possible, right?
They don't like film like way in advance. Like, you don't think there's any that they've like already done?
There's only, to my understanding, there was only one completed before COVID.
Wow.
That was made by Hallmark, and there may have been others that were finished by other production companies that then they'll purchase, which is very possible. But there's one called Christmas in Vienna, which I am so excited for. Yes, I cannot wait. It stars Sarah Drew, who I adore and love, and Brendan Elliott, who I also adore and love, and they're in Vienna celebrating Christmas, and she's like a violinist or something. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
If it's on location, that's going to be beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They did that last January, or this last January. So I know they have that one. They also have one, a New Year's one that they, for some bizarre reason, decided not to air. They did all the promo, and this is not uncommon for Hallmark. And then all of a sudden it was just gone. Nobody knows why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be like, we need to pull out all the movies that we never aired.
Yeah.
Imagine if you find out like there's like movies from like 2017 that they're like, we didn't air this one, so let's just
put it out there.
Yeah. It would not surprise me at all, even a little bit. They've even been on Hallmark Drama. They have been posting these. They've been replaying these movies, but the promos have been acting like they're new movies. And I'm like, no, that was 2015. That's not a new movie. Like, what?
Maybe they're trying to trick everyone. They're like, not everyone's like Rachel. They don't all know.
I'm like, what? So anyway, I just wanted to say that's my opinion about this, is that there's plenty of movies to go around. So yay, we all get a movie. It's great. I think it's great. So there we go. And that's all that I had prepared to talk about. I don't know if you all had anything else that you wanted to talk about, but I really appreciate all of the comments in the chat room. So yeah, it's going to be, I mean, everybody's just kind of flying by the seat of their pants at this point. Nobody's knows what they're doing. Yeah. So anyway, thanks so much for all of the comments, and congrats again to Kristen.
Yes.
Thank you. Congrats on your interview as well.
So Kristen, how can people find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/kmaldo, kmaldo on Twitter, Facebook, and then if you add a 1 at the end, that's where I'm at on Instagram.
Great. And Stanford, how can people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stanford Clark, and I have a movie podcast and blog at moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and at the Hallmarkies podcast. So if you want more of all this Hallmark nonsense, make sure you check out over there. It's really fun. We just had interview with Marcus Rosner, actor Marcus Rosner, post this week. So it's really a fun one. So check that out. And anyway, thank you so much, you guys. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Bye.